It's a little cold, lads. You can hear the wind howling in the back, but it's okay. We can get through this thing. It's all good. Now, lads, I'm going to need you to do a couple things before we really begin. First thing I'm going to need you to do, have out your notebook. Going to need that notebook. Next, you're going to need something to write with. Thirdly, your good old periodic table. And then finally, and maybe most importantly, you're going to need your thinking cap. We're going to be doing some strenuous work here, lads, so let's get after it, all right? So hit pause and go make sure you have all those things. So we started talking in class today about molar mass. Molar mass is, of course, the mass of 1 mole of any substance, be it a element like gold, silver, or a compound like water or whatever. So a mole of one substance is a molar mass. And as we also alluded to, the molar mass of something like silicon is equal to 28.09 grams of silicon in 1 mole. So that's what this means right here. In the molar mass. Can I do this? I can't do this. There we go. 1 mole of silicon is 28.09 grams. And if you refer to your periodic table and look at silicon, you will see exactly right listed below it. That is the molar mass of silicon, 28.09 grams per 1 mole of silicon. Very good. Now, let's say we have sodium chloride, 1 mole of sodium chloride, table salt. That would be, gentlemen, a combination of 1 mole of sodium and 1 mole of chlorine. And if you refer to your periodic table, you will see that sodium is 22.99 grams in 1 mole, and chlorine is 35.45 grams in 1 mole. So we add those two together, and the molar mass, the mass of 1 mole of sodium chloride, is 58.44 grams of sodium chloride. If you need to, pause, go back a little bit, and go over the silicon and the sodium chloride examples, okay? Because now I'm going to ask you the question, why does this keep covering up? What is the mass of 1 mole of sulfuric acid, H2SO4? Well, by now, hopefully you figured out, if I've got 1 mole of sulfuric acid, then I have 2 moles of hydrogen, I have 1 mole of sulfur, and I have 4 moles of oxygen. So it should look something like, this. 2 hydrogen, so there are 2.02 grams in 2 moles of hydrogen, right, because of this. Sulfur is 32.06 grams in 1 mole, because there's only 1 sulfur in the formula. And 4 oxygens give us 64 grams of oxygen in 4 moles of oxygen, right? Because we have 4 oxygens here. So we tote those up and we end up with something like this. 98.08 grams are of sulfuric acid, or in 1 mole of sulfuric acid. Make sense? I hope so. Here are a couple questions. Okay, now we have 2.16 grams of sulfuric acid in a sample. How many moles would that be? How many molecules would that be? How many atoms would that be? Now, these two should be pretty familiar from what we've already done, and we know that we need to be in moles to do those two calculations. And look at there. We're being asked how many moles are we going to have so that we can do these calculations based on this. So let me set it up for you. So 2.16 grams of sulfuric acid will be converted into moles. We've got our molar mass down here, because notice what happens. Grams cancel here and grams cancel here. I'm now in moles. And when I do that division, I end up with 0.0220 moles of sulfuric acid. 2.16 divided by 98.08 gives us 0.0220 moles of sulfuric acid. Notice how I'm labeling everything. I'm not just saying grams, I'm saying grams of sulfuric acid, moles of sulfuric acid, grams of sulfuric acid. Please be very diligent about your labeling. Now I think you can do the rest of this on your own. 1 second, please. And we end up with these two numbers, 1.32 times 10 to the 22nd molecules of sulfuric acid and 9.24 times 10 to the 22nd atoms in sulfuric acid. Those are calculations that you've done before and you should be pretty good with. So let me move us on a little bit here. And I have a couple of questions. I'm still feel that breeze, huh? Woo, cold. All right, anyway. So what is the molar mass of aluminum chloride? And how many moles would be found in 145 grams of that sample of aluminum chloride, or in that sample of aluminum chloride? Now, you can challenge yourself, pause, do the calculations in your notebook, or you can just follow along. Let's see what happens. I'm going to very quickly take this on. Our answer is 133.33 grams per mole of aluminum chloride. Because we have one aluminum, 26.98 grams. Chlorine, there are three, so 3 times 35.45. Add those two together, we get 133.33 grams per mole of aluminum. Let's move on to our 145 grams of the aluminum chloride and find out how many moles there are in that one. Here's our setup. Grams cancel, and we got 1.09 moles of aluminum chloride. And I'm thinking to myself that you probably already can see where we're going with this. How many molecules, how many atoms do we have? We've done that already, right, with our 1.09 moles. So pretty standard at this point. Let me just quick throw those answers up here. And there they are. 6.56 times 10 to the 23rd molecules and 2.62 times 10 to the 24th atoms. That should be pretty standard stuff at this point, having done as many calculations as we have. Okay, let's move a little bit. Literally, let's move a little bit.